This is just a little test. I'm having problems on my end. I'm glad to hear that I'm audible. Am I coherent or do I sound glitchy? And more importantly, can you hear the people upstairs? Oh dear. Well, hopefully once I begin, things will go smoothly. Here's hoping that things will go well tonight. Thank you everybody for joining. We're going to get started here in just a couple of minutes. Once I get going, I don't have a dual screen setup. So I'll be taking breaks every once in a while to come take a look at the chat. So if you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the chat. I do get to see all of them. Let me just make sure I see all of them. There we go. I can see all of them now. Huzzah. And we're just going to be getting started right shortly. I see that we have a few more people joining. Welcome. We're going to get started in just a moment. Until then, I believe, whoops. We have a screen that we are sharing. Yes. Excellent. Hello and welcome to everybody who's decided to join us this evening. I appreciate and value your time and your contribution to what's happening. If you're watching us online, please do like and subscribe, because I believe that is what you're supposed to say, but also because it allows you to remain engaged and help us out. Please engage with us in the chat. We'll have a couple of people in there already, and we'll be getting started here right shortly. Well, I would just like to say hello and welcome to everybody. Thank you for attending. Tonight is a presentation on behalf of the Voluntary Association for Work and Mutual Aid. My name is James Harris. I am your host this evening. Unfortunately, Kat, who's normally here to do the introduction, was unable to make it due to things, life happening. And we wish her well. Don't forget that you're awesome. As with regards to what's going on tonight, we've had a major storm here in Ontario, so we don't have anybody here in person. So we're just streaming live from the budding rural metropolis of Owen Sound, located snugly in the northern half of southwestern Ontario. We're located at the very pedestrian and lovely decorated Owen Sound Hub. The community incubator. Let's see what hatches. So before we get started or too far along, we just want to take a second to take a moment to honor and do a land acknowledgement. We here at VAWMA and those gathered here tonight would like to acknowledge the territory of the Anishinaabeg Nation, the people of the Three Fires, known as the Ojibwe, Odawa, and Potawatomi nations. And further, we give thanks to the Chippewas of Saugeen and the Chippewas of Nawash, now known as Saugeen Ojibwe Nation, as the traditional keepers of this land. Thank you. So we're here today to answer some questions. What is VAWMA? VAWMA is the Voluntary Association for Work and Mutual Aid. What is that? We're going to go into some details about that here as we go along. If you have been here before, welcome. If you've been here before, you'll know that this is event number 3 that we put on out of 4. We're hoping tonight to have a guest speaker, Niki. We haven't heard back from her yet, so if that happens, if she's not able to make it here tonight, then we'll just call it quits a little bit early. But in the event that we have Niki, I'm really looking forward to hearing what it is that she has to share. Right. Also, with regards to who we are and what we do, we are a mutual aid organization. That is to say, we look out for each other. We're also a union. We're a cooperative incubator and an umbrella corporation. That is to say, we are a democratically community-owned, democratically directed umbrella corporation. And our mission statement is that each member receives a living wage. Each member has control over their schedule. We share in the profits of the business, that is to say, the surplus that helps support and run, and we endorse. We have a say in how the business that we run is run, and we have an opportunity to have our dream realized with the help of others around us. So basically, we're here to see people's dreams come dream businesses come into existence. Here to see people get living wages. We're here to see people get control over what it is that they do, when they do it, how they do it. And basically, where in traditional businesses and enterprises, profit is the bottom line of VAWMA, people are our bottom line. So let's contrast a few things. What is a corporation? So VAWMA is different from a traditional enterprise in that in a traditional enterprise, you have an owner or you have a group of owners. These people live off the profits and the benefits of the business. They're the people that get to ultimately say what you do, when you do it, how you do it. But quite often, they're happy to just take the profits and leave the finicky details in the hands of the manager. And the manager gets the checks and balances. They make things, make sure that things happen. They're the ones that implement the day-to-day plan that the owners come up with and make sure that things happen. And when the business makes money, they tend to see a little bit of a bonus for their troubles. And the managers, of course, can't do everything themselves, so they tend to hire supervisors, which, of course, are just workers who have been given a fancy title and have been told to make sure that the others get the work that is supposed to be done. They're held accountable for workers not meeting quota. Not so much fun. And then, of course, we have the worker who is told when, how long, and for how much they will do the work that they've been hired to do, if you're lucky. Of course, these days, it's a worker's workplace. But what is a co-op? So cooperative business flow is basically we have the owners. So all members of VAWMA are owners of the business within the co-op. There are actually a couple of different cooperative models. So the one we're going to be focusing on tonight is a bit of is a specific model, worker-directed cooperative model. But there are many different kinds of co-ops. But the one thread that holds them all together is that they're democratically owned and directed. That the people who are connected with the co-op are invested in the co-op themselves. They're there. They are. They're in for the long haul. And of course, as all members are owners of VAWMA, we can, if we want to, hire managers. But reality is, we're going to be doing managing the business ourselves. We don't need managers in a cooperative. But if we do, they are going to be dedicated members who are worker owners of the cooperative. And if we, again, same thing with workers and supervisors. Supervisors support the manager in daily business tasks. That is to say, manager, you might decide you might have one person be responsible for making sure the lights are on and everybody gets their paychecks. That's fine if that's what you guys decide to do. You can do it using sociocracy. You can do it using a workers' council. However you decide to do it, all workers are given a chunk of the surplus at the end of the year based on what they've done to help create that surplus. So we got a moment here where we can discuss. I'm just going to go flip over here to our chat here. Hello, chat. Good to see you all. You let me know if you guys see anything going a little wary or anything a little wonky in with the stream, and I will pay attention as best as I can. Thank you. I'd just like, before we get into tonight's session, I'd just like to take a moment to give a shout out to Kat, who owns a business which is sponsoring the events that we're doing here this evening. This is, of course, Live with Advantage. And we'd just like to say thank you to Live with Advantage just for sponsoring this event. I can tell you that I am someone who has actually had the benefit of working with Kat with regards to helping to actually bring this whole event together. And her actions, or her work with transformational life coaching, trauma-aware training specializing in transformational life coaching, quantum time release, I'm not too sure what that means, but evolved neuro-linguistics programming and executive coaching. Regardless, she is awesome. She is very capable of helping you to help yourself and figure out what it is that you need to do, when you need to do it, and how you need to do it, and helping you make your dreams come to reality. So she has a saying where when you play D&D, when somebody gives you help action, you get to roll with advantage. Let her give you the help action. You can live with advantage. Just a reminder that anybody watching this who would like to take advantage of her services is free to go to her website at www.livewithadvantage.com. That's www.livewithadvantage.com. And you can use promo code VAWMA for 50% off all services. Wow, that's pretty awesome. Take advantage of that, folks. Audio has gone muddy. You as well. Okay. I am going to. Let's see. I don't know what to do at this point. So we're at a crossroads where we can. I'm about to launch into the talk for this evening. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to just quickly restart the browser. Yeah, it's the audio coming through here. Oh, we have a question from Brad Peterson. Is VAWMA a business model for others, or is it a business per se that produces or provides something? VAWMA is really, it's a group of people coming together. So, we're going to go into business together. I'm going to go into my business, and you are going to do your business. I'm going to support your business when my business is doing well. You're going to support my business when your business is working. The workers come in basically through the membership, and then we'll just support the membership. But if members to join as possible, we will dedicated members who will buy into your business, my business, and in the event that you have a new business idea, you bring it to us. We like it, we adopt it, and we make sure it happens under our framework. Mike is picking up ambient sound. And unfortunately, I'm not too sure what I can do with that. Yes, I do. 1 second. That should be better. So I'm going to switch over to the slides now. Brad, I'm not too sure if I answered your question. If you like, though, I'm going to be going into a discussion tonight about what it is that our businesses do and how they function. Stop sharing the screen for a second. Oh, good. Niki, glad to have you. Glad you've joined. We'll bring you in to the conversation here a little bit closer to 8 o'clock. So glad to have you. I'm going to share my screen again. So, once again, I would like to say thank you for joining us. My name is James. This is the Voluntary Association for Work and Mutual Aid, and tonight we're presenting a proposal, Cooperative Business Networks. It's an idea for how we can do things together. But first, let's cover a couple of things. What is VAWMA? Again, we are a mutual aid. What I mean by that is we are a bunch of people that have decided to come together to watch each other's backs, to look out for each other, because we decided that we don't like the objectivist worldview that we brought up in under Reagan and Mulrooney, Thatcher, Clinton, all the rest of them. And we've decided that we are going to make sure that we look out for each other, watch each other's backs, work together to be prepared for when our community needs us, so that when our community needs us, we're actually useful. We can show up and volunteer and be ready to go to be hopeful, to have like a whole network of people that are able to show up. So that's what we are as a mutual aid network. And then we recognize as that we are workers. Our primary wealth generation tool is created by our labor. Whether it be skilled labor that we've got through college, university, or just through experience, or whether it's like what they call manual labor, just working with your hands, getting stuff done, or retail, or whatever it is. We recognize that it's our labor, it's our work that produces our wealth. And so we pull that all together as one of the resources that we bring together to help each other out. And we decide what we're going to do, when we're going to do it, how we're going to do it. And we all decide that together as through a collaborative process, which to my mind makes us a bit of a union. And to that end, we are going to be a union that forms and creates our own businesses that will turn around and hire us at living wages, ending precarious work, giving us control over our schedules, things like that. And so we are a cooperative business incubator. We're coming together for the purposes of crowdsource funding in order to make our businesses come into existence. And when they do, as we get more and more businesses under our belts, they become a democratic union umbrella corporation. That might not be the best way to describe it. I had a wonderful discussion with somebody this afternoon about this concept. And I'm beginning to think that there might be a better way of describing it. So stay tuned. We might come up with a better way of describing it. But for right now, just picture that we've got one organization which has all these other cooperatives underneath it, all working together to help support each other. And that's what we're trying to talk about tonight. We're going to be talking about how our cooperatives work together. So first and foremost, we're contrasting what we're doing by the most popular alternative to work that is out there, and that is going into business for yourself, being your own boss. So there are pros and there are cons. Today we're going to go off of the pros first. So when you go into business alone, you are your own boss. Sounds great. Great on paper. You get to figure out, you get to decide what happens. You get to decide when it happens and all that other fun stuff. You get to keep what you make, kind of. The IRS and the CRA want their share, of course, but for the most part, whatever you charge your customers, stuff, you decide your own hours. I mean, yeah, you do. If you don't want to work, you don't work. But there's, there's good and bad to that. You control who you work with. So if you decide that you need some help doing whatever it is that you're doing, you get to be the deciding person who chooses the people that you work with. It's a lot of fun. If you don't like the person, you don't have to work with them, or you don't have to do it. The cons are, though, you have to be the boss. No one's going to be doing this for you. You have to be your own self-motivation. You have to be the person where you can. That's fine if you're that kind of person. But if you have no customers, you have no future, which means ultimately there aren't a whole lot of people out there that are going to be giving you business for free. It's going to be on your shoulders. And you also have to control who you work with. Whereas before, the pro being you get to control who you work with, you get to decide who you work with. Once you've figured out who you're going to work with, you then have to tell them what to do, when to do it, how to do it, and all that other fun stuff. You have to be in control. You have to be on top of it. You have to be, dare I say it, the dictator. Well, in VAWMA, things are a little bit different. So let's start with the cons. You don't get to be the sole decision maker. Under VAWMA, you aren't the only person calling the shots anymore. And if you were in business previously, you would be the key. You would be the owner. You would be the decider. You would be the dictator. Under VAWMA, no one person is the dictator. Nobody is, because we all work on a consensus basis model that works within each cooperative. So each cooperative has its own set of circles. We'll get to that in the pros. But suffice to say, people working together, deciding what they do together, everybody has a say. So you don't get to take everything home with you. You know, when you're in business for yourself and you have the key to the cash register and you need $20 to go down to the store, you might be able to put an IOU in there so it balances out and run down to the store so long as you pay it back at the end of the week or what have you. You can't do that with VAWMA, and that's okay. You also can't fire anybody. If you were used to being the owner, used to being the sole proprietor, you're used to being able to say, I don't want you to work here anymore. Don't bother coming back on Monday. You can't do that with VAWMA because everybody is a joint owner and you really can't fire an owner. Now, that's not to say that there isn't a way of dealing with individuals. We have processes for most people. We can talk about it. There's discussions. The pros of doing it together with VAWMA is that no one person can sink the ship. If you've ever been in a situation where you've been working for a large company and one person is taking the company in a direction that everybody else around says, why are they going in that direction? I'm thinking of Twitter right at the moment. Twitter was a part of VAWMA. What's happening with Twitter would never be happening now. You know, no one person can sink the ship. You have the shares in surplus not only of your business, but of every business that's involved. So when you're in business for yourself, you get to keep all of what you make. Cool. When you're in business with VAWMA, you get to take a share in the surplus, not just your business, but the business of everybody, of all the businesses that are part of the VAWMA network. And we work hard to help out each other. You also have to say over your schedule along with everyone else. So we have the process of deciding who works when. Is decided amongst dedicated members who we went into a little bit more detail in last week's video. So if you're interested about that, check it out. It's up on YouTube. But suffice to say, we have dedicated members who are members of VAWMA, and these dedicated members have a buy-in associated with being a part of that business, and that gives them the right to be a part of the Workers' Council, to be a part of the circle that determines what that business does, how it does it. And it also gives you the right to choose what it is, which shift it is that you want to work before any other of the general members of VAWMA would have a chance to. You also have the right to refuse. If you don't want to work a shift, you don't have to. And that's okay, because we've got plenty of members of VAWMA that are ready and able to take the shift if there's a shift that's dropped. It all works out in the wash, is my point. And also, nobody can fire you. If you decide as a dedicated member of a cooperative that there's a shift that you do not want to take and you don't take it, you can't get fired at the end of the day for not showing up for that shift. We would have somebody else show up for that shift, but B, there's nobody who can say to you, you're gone. Okay. So there's job security within VAWMA. And that is to say, if we end up with a situation where somebody is a part of a cooperative where they do not want to be there and they do not want to work, we have exit strategies for people so we can take care of that. We're not going into those details tonight, but just to say that we do have that a plan for that if it happens. I'm just going to stop here for a second and see if we have any questions. Nope. Okay, moving on. So what we're going to be proposing then in VAWMA is that we do business together, not just us in or not just us coming together to do one business and single cooperative. We're going to be supportive of many different businesses. When we get up and mature, hopefully dozens of businesses, all catering to different, maybe even hundreds of businesses, all catering to different aspects of needs within our community, all responding to what it is that people want. We'll go where the money is. If people want to buy stuff, we'll go to where they want to buy stuff and we'll provide it for them. Is basic idea. And as we do that, each business that's a part of VAWMA is responsible for covering its own cost of existence. We're in this to make money, and if the business that you have proposed and we've adopted is not making money, we're going to have a conversation at the end of the quarter saying, hey guys, what do we need to do in order to help you guys make money? But until then, we're going to leave it up to you guys and the business plan that you guys have proposed in order to see it all happen. And to make things happen, we have this is the idea of how our businesses will work. We start out on month one. So month one, we've got this. You can conceive of it as though we have a barrel. And in that barrel, we put all the money in it that we're going to need for this month. So month one, the blue barrel, has all the money in it that we need to cover wages for the first 4 weeks or the next 4 weeks, has all the money in it that we need to buy supplies in order to buy tools, in order to do what we need to do to keep the lights on, to do what we need to do in order to do business. And that starts out month one, we already have that barrel. If that barrel is supplied either by the startup budget before we even start the business, or it is there by the previous quarter, we would have topped it up there. So when we start week one of quarter one, we've already got the entire budget that we need to pay ourselves and to buy everything that we need and to keep the lights on. It's already in the bank. We don't need it. If we had no customers at all this month, we would still get paychecks. We would still keep the lights on. We wouldn't have any problems there. But we're going to take the first 3 weeks of being in business, and we're going to try to do everything that we can to fill up the barrel for month two. And then once we filled up the barrel for month two, we're going to move on to month three and an extra week. Just month four, it's a bit of change. Just don't worry about it. Just think of it as 1 month. And the point is, we take those 3 weeks and we try to do everything we can to fill up that barrel. Once we've filled up that barrel, we then move on to the barrel for the first month of the next quarter. And then once we've got that set aside, everything our business makes until we get to the end of the quarter is surplus. That's the plan. Now, each business, again, is responsible for its own systems. So track the numbers. If your business is able to get to the week 13, we are in the surplus. And people take a look at your business model. Let's look at this. Salvage, if it is a failing business, we just don't have the customer base for what it is that we need or what it is that we're doing. We start the liquidation process. Again, we're not going into those details tonight, but just to say that we do have an event of failure. But until then, to avoid failure, each business, once its budget goal, that's where our idea of how we're going to do business comes into. It's the idea that each and every business has a high time, has a low time, has a time where you need a crunch and a time where you're missing. And our goal is to have a wide variety of businesses that are operating year-round, or some of them will be operating at their peak during times when other businesses are not doing so well. And when the idea is to have our businesses alongside the businesses that some, and get everybody's and at that point, once everybody's got all their budgets covered, everybody's paycheck is covered, all the supplies that we need in order to be in business are covered, all the bills are paid, the rents are on, utilities are paid. We start making a surplus. So if that's a little bit of a weird concept, we're going to walk through this with three example companies. Now, this is napkin. So take it as such. These are three example cooperatives within VAWMA: the Doohickey Cooperative, Self-Stealing Stumble Cooperative, and Acquisitions Cooperative. And they, for our purposes, they are run by 10 dedicated members each, working full-time. Living labor costs, their wage costs. So we add it all together, and they're trying to make $208,000. Break that up to by week, and it works out to be a weekly budget goal of $17,333.33. So our goal is, over the course of these weeks, to make that amount each week, so that we can get to these weeks, we're making a surplus. If we can make this much money over these couple of weeks, then we're good. So we're going to take a look at it. We're going to walk through what it looks like. So Doohickey Cooperative, at the beginning of things here, they come out with about 10 grand in their first week of being in business. Stembolts, is around 15,000, which both of these are less than the 17,333 that we're trying to get to. However, Acquisitions Cooperative is booming in business. They made 21,000 in their first week of being in business. Okay, so things come up. We then move into the second week, where we have 14,000 in the Doohickey Co-op, 23,000 in Stemble Co-op. I don't know what they did, but somebody put some sugar in their coffee. And then again, with Acquisitions Cooperative, knocking it into the park with again 23,000 and change. Okay, so by the time we get to the third week, we've got Doohickey Co-op coming in again, woefully below the 17,000 that we've been aiming for in all of these 3 weeks, and we're not looking good. Same with Stumble. Actually, Stumble is not too bad. Pretty close, just a little bit under. Acquisitions Cooperative is just again knocking up. See how these numbers here, but halfway through they both roll into surplus, or the plus, I should say, not the surplus yet. So we've got over here the cooperative change short of 52,000. 52,000 by the way is just what 17,333 is times 3 weeks. So we do things in 3 week increments, just for this particular example. And so by the end of the third week, we hope to this next month is not looking good. However, Stemble Cooperative, I should say, they were able to, between their 3 weeks, they were able to break over, bring it to a total plus of 2,683. Good for them. Acquisitions Cooperative, they are champions this time. They come in with a plus of 13,200. So here's what we do. In the end of this week, or as we're getting to the end of this week, the money that these guys are making is pooling up, and all of a sudden, Acquisitions, halfway through the week, they've made their budget, they've built their budget for the next month. Now, before they're going to go take the extra that they've got here, put it into their month 3, they're instead going to take their extra, their plus, we're going to add them together. We're going to fill the shortfall here. We're going to top up Doohickey to the point where they're at the 52,000 that they need to be at in order to reach their budget goals for the next month. So we're at the end of 3 weeks, and all 3 of our cooperatives have reached their budget goals for month 2. So now, by the time we get to month 2, all of our wages are paid. All of our what we need to have for our supplies is set away. And everything we need to keep the lights on, everything we need to pay the rent, we've all got this covered. We now move into week 4. And at week 4, we see the same examples, 10,000, 14,000, 24,000 respectively, all with change. These 2 guys are not meeting the budget goals. So what's going to happen now is at the end of the month, each of these cooperatives is going to have a meeting where they're going to have a big, huge circle. And in that circle, they're going to say, what are we doing wrong? These guys are going to say, what are we doing wrong? These guys are going to say, what can we do to improve? We had a good week, but we're still. These guys are going to say, we're doing awesome. And they're going to figure it out. And for month 2, they're going to implement a strategy. These guys are going to change up a little bit what they're doing, and we're going to see if they improve. These guys are going to try and improve a little bit as well. These guys are going to try to continue to doing what they're doing. So we move along. We get to week 5. What it is that we're doing. You can see that you can so they were same with acquisitions. Everybody's doing so. In the first week, week 5, the doohickey cooperative here is sitting at 29,217 out of the 52,000 that they're aiming for. These 2 together brings us up to that. They're short 22,783. So they can make that the next week. They're good. Stumbled is at 34,000 out of 52 by the end of week 5. They're short 17,579. However, here, putting them a plus of 5,120. So what they're going to do at this point is what we did last time. They're going to, instead of helping out Doohickey though, they're going to help out Stumbled, because Stumbled is closer to meeting their budgetary goal. So they're going to move their 5,000 up there, and now they're a little bit closer to meeting their budgetary goals. Okay, let's go into week 6. Week 6, we're new, not too bad. Doohickey Cooperative brought what they brought in up to 45,600, just short of 52 by 6,000. Stumbled, they go through. They're the 16,000. And again, Acquisitions Cooperative knocking it out of the park. They're a plus 20. So what is going to happen is, because halfway through the week, these guys broke even. During the first part of the week, these guys were putting everything they were making up so that going into week 7, they're now setting aside money for the blue bear, which is going to be the bear. So then these guys took their surplus, but it was left over because this guy had 8,320 left over from what he was aiming for over here. That's going to move over into the first, into the blue bear. Same here with the 22,000. So moving into the next quarter, these guys are starting with their barrels already stuffed. They haven't even opened day 1 yet, and already they've got money in the blue bears. They're struggling. They're getting better. But last week they almost made their budgetary goals. We're still learning. This week, however, again, we're still about 1,000 short, maybe 600, 700 short, 700 short. what it is to bring. However, stuff made 20,000 positions that 8,000 was there before, and bringing them up to almost over half of their budget goals for the first month of the next quarter. Acquisitions Incorporated almost made their entire budget in 1 week. So I think what's going to happen in this next week is going to be very revealing. So at the end of 8 weeks, the Doohickey Co-op is at 36,282 out of 52,000 that they're aiming for. They're short 15,718. Stem bolts, they're at 47,954, just shy of 58, not the 52 that they're looking for. They're short 4,046. Acquisitions Cooperative is well over the goal of 52,000 by 18,322 bucks. So what they're going to do is they're immediately going to take 4,046 of that 18,000, and they're going to top up Stumble. So now Stumble, everything at this point, their blue barrel is now covered. So their first. This is now short. So we still got 1 more week to go in our attempt to cover everybody's budgets before we get to the end of the quarter. And here it is. Within the first 3 days, Doohickey was able to make up its 1,442, and it was starting to whatever was left over then. Actually made a total surplus of 19,103. Brings the Stumble book, which brought in 73,000, bringing to a plus of 21,000. And of course, Acquisitions Cooperative is just making 72,000, or hit the 72,000 mark, bringing it to a plus of 20,000. So at this point, halfway through, halfway through the yellow book that we set up before, and now we're making surplus. So all the money that these businesses are making is growing, once the surplus. Now, in real life, businesses probably aren't going to be that effective. When we get to the actual business numbers, we'll be putting in real numbers as opposed to hypotheticals with 10 people beginning X amount making widgets and making doohickeys and making whatever it is Acquisitions Cooperative does. But to get the general idea of how it is that when one business is doing well, we help out all the other businesses get to the point, get through their slump, get to the point where they are covering their costs of being in business, and then making sure that they are making a surplus. The faster that we all get to the point where all of our businesses are covered, all of our wages are covered, the faster that everybody can then start making a surplus, which we can all start enjoying a little bit better. That's where we take the surplus that all the businesses make and pull it into one big happy tub. That's administered by each business has members on the board of directors. And it also goes to help pay for bookkeeping and accounting and things like that. We have centralized the bookkeeping department. So instead of having but the point of the matter is, it's all taken care of because one of the things every business needs is a bookkeeper. So we share the bookkeeper. You know, businesses need accountants, so we'll hire an accountant, or we'll have an accountant become a member of VAWMA, and we do it in house. Either way, um, their paychecks come out of that. We also have things I didn't mention here, but we also have things like benefit businesses, things like childcare. So things that we do as a service to look after your kids, make sure that the babysitting is that's look after your kids will go. So something like that, and that's something that's paid for both through our business surplus system, which we put in, and as well as and once that stuff has been taken care of, then that surplus is divided up amongst our VAWMA membership according to the PIP system. And I'm not going to go too much into the details of the PIP system tonight. That's something we're going to be talking about where the surplus is, how they get a part of this. Where we'll be talking about. And that brings us to our current proposal. Uh, is that we start by meeting at doing a 4-week rotation. Once a week we get together. Yes, once a week we get together, and on the first week and on the third week we do mutual aid. That is to say, we come together, we eat together, we have a potluck. We ask how everybody's doing, make sure everybody's okay. And once we've determined that everybody's okay, then we break out the guitars, break out the deck of cards, we have a good time, and we form community together. Then on weeks 2 and 4, similar idea. We get together, we ask how each other's doing, but this time we sit down at the table and figure out what it is. Is it worth it? Is there and that's what our 4 week rotations. Weeks 1, weeks 3, weeks 2, weeks 4. Also, we have a general where we look through our membership and we say, okay, we've been meeting now for 3 months. We have business ideas. Does anyone want to incorporate, want to start around that business? And if so, at that point, we get into your at least, I hope, we can get together to do this. Get everything into codified into what it is that we're going to do and how we do it. We'll elect our first board of directors, and we'll get started. We'll start our first business, and everybody will come in. Start our second business, develop our benefits program, get things or we can do things like get or medical insurance, pharmaceuticals. That's tools that using our business. Again, more on that next week. By year 4, hopefully we'll have started our third cooperative business, and we'll be able to justify centralizing things like bookkeeping, accounting. We won't have human resources. We will have member services, just as a bit of a contrast for how we are to do things. By the time we get to year 5, we'll be starting our businesses and working together. So I'm just going to take a look at the chat here. I'm seeing that audio is not working well today. Sorry to hear that. Any other comments? People are hearing.
am personally a business person,
Hmm.
but what I've heard from other people, the typical business collapses within 5 years.
Yes.
And my guess is that the struggling goes on.
Mhm. What they do
Just to get out of
whereas or 2 out of 10.
Good.
Yeah, 2 out of so for every 10 businesses that started 10 years ago, 2 of them are still. There's also been studies that talk about cooperatives, things like one business is doing well or a couple businesses are doing well, then it's going to help all of our businesses meet their budgets. Those other businesses aren't necessarily going to help us get surplus. You're just going to get a certain point where our budgets are covered, then it's up to us to make money. And my part, like my goal is to get together, and then we all share in what we all produce through that process. We're going to go into a lot more details about how our partners in surplus system works next week, which I'm excited for. It's basically